The Old Woman by Joanne Schwartz and Kazemi. There was an old house that didn't have much in it. An old woman lived there with a scruffy old dog who was her best friend. Most mornings, the dog went outside and chased squirrels around the old house until he tired himself out. Then he curled up on the worn-out rug and dozed, one eye opening now and again. One day, the old woman and the dog went for a walk into the hills. It was fall, and the old woman wanted to hear the crunch of dry leaves under her feet and the wind whispering through the trees. It was some time since the old woman and the dog had walked this way, but it was just as she remembered it. The rocks, the trees, and the boulder they were heading toward that made a perfect place to sit down. The old woman stopped to watch a crow fly past. The dog looked up too. What would it feel like to fly, she thought. She imagined wings spread, gliding on wind currents. She teetered a bit just thinking about it. To have a bird's eye view, now that would be something. On she went, throwing sticks for the dog here and there. He ran after them and brought them back, dropping them at her feet. The old woman spotted a long, thick one and made a good walking stick. She tried it out. Thump, step, thump, step. That works well, she thought. After a while, she came upon the boulder with its perfect seat and sat down to rest. The dog lay down at her feet, panting from running after sticks. He needed a rest too. The wind came up, whirling the leaves in the air. It was getting late. The old woman remembered when she used to play outside for hours, never wanting to go in. Could the day last forever? The harvest moon rose slowly and suddenly as it was there, taking her breath away. What was that word? Magnificent. It was magnificent. And it was so orange, or sort of a rusty color. She thought about how to describe it. Huge, looming, warm, gentle, enormous, dreamy, peaceful, autumnal, magnificent. When they got back to the house, the old woman sat in her chair and put her feet up. She noticed a hole in the curtains. Tomorrow, I'll mend them, she thought. She was tired. She closed her eyes and drifted off to sleep. The dog curled up and soon began to snore. The old woman woke up early the next morning. She felt stiff and achy from her long walk. She put the kettle on. The sky was still dark, and she could hear birds chirping outside her window. Pulling on a heavy sweater, she went outside to sit and watch the sunrise. The dog came too and sat by her side. There was a chill in the air. Soon it would be cold. It always comes like this, thought the old woman, and yet no one day is the same as another. The sky was lighter now, the darkness fading. The air feels quiet, if you could say that, she thought, and where it touches my face, it feels like the softest hand in the world. The day stretched out before her. In her mind's eye, the old woman went up the hill again. She didn't seem to feel the time passing. And anyway, she thought, I am not in a hurry. She smiled at the dog and reached down to pat him. It's a new day. What do you think? Shall we spend it together? I think so too, my good old friend.